Welcome back, everyone, to episode 5 of English Soundalikes Podcasts. I'm Maya, and it's great to have you with us.
And I'm Jack, ready to untangle another pair of English words that often cause a bit of confusion.
Today, Jack, we're looking at advice, spelled A-D-V-I-C-E, and advise, spelled A-D-I-S-E. Just one letter difference at the end, a C versus an S, changes the part of speech and the pronunciation slightly.
That's right, Maya. It's a classic noun-verb pair where the spelling difference is minimal, but the grammatical function is distinct. Getting these right is important for clear communication, especially in more formal contexts.
Let's start with advice, A-D-V-I-C-E. Jack, what can you tell us about this word?
Advice, with a C, is a noun. It means a suggestion, an opinion, or a recommendation offered as a guide to action or conduct. It's the thing you give or receive.
Exactly. So, if someone gives you a helpful suggestion, you could say, "Thank you for the good advice." Or, "My mother always gives me sound advice." It's an uncountable noun, by the way, so we usually say a piece of advice or some advice, not an advice or advices.
That's an excellent point, Maya, about it being an uncountable noun. And the pronunciation for advice with a C ends with an S sound like ice or nice. So, advice.
Perfect. So, advice, A-D-V-I-C-E, noun, S sound, is the recommendation itself. Now, let's switch to advise, A-D-V-I-S-E. How is this one different, Jack?
Advise with an S is a verb. It means to offer suggestions, to give counsel to, or to recommend a course of action. It's the action of giving advice.
So, it's the doing word. For example, I would advise you to study harder for the exam. Or, the doctor will advise the patient on the best treatment. Here, advise is what the doctor or I am doing.
Precisely. And because it's a verb, it can be conjugated. Advises, advising, advised. For example, she advised him to wait. The pronunciation for advise with an S ends with a Z sound, like realize or surprise. So, advise.
That difference in the final sound is key. Advice, noun, with an S sound, and advise, verb, with a Z sound. It's similar to the difference we heard in loose and loose, but with a different vowel before it.
Exactly. A good way to remember might be that the noun, advice, with a C, is like other nouns ending in ice, such as practice or device, which often have that S sound, while the verb advise, with an S, shares the Z sound with many other verbs like devise or revise.
That's a helpful connection, Jack. So, if you give someone advice, noun, you advise them, verb. Can you give us a sentence that uses both words correctly to clearly show their different roles?
Of course. How about this? My mentor likes to advise me, and I always appreciate her excellent advice.
That's a great example. To advise me is the action, verb, her mentor performs. And her excellent advice is the thing, noun. It lays out the difference very clearly.
So, to summarize for our listeners, advice, A-D-V-I-C, noun, S sound, a suggestion or recommendation. Think, can I get some advice? Advise, A-D-V-S-E, verb, Z sound, the act of giving a suggestion or recommendation. Think, I advise you to.
Excellent summary, Jack. Any final tips for our listeners on mastering advice and advise?
Pay close attention to that final letter, C for the noun, S for the verb. Listen carefully to the pronunciation, as that S versus Z sound is a clear indicator. And, as always, practice. Try to use both in your own sentences. When you're reading, notice how they're used.
Great advice, Jack. And we hope this explanation has made it easier for all of you to use advice and advise with confidence.
We certainly hope so. Thank you for joining us for this episode of English Soundalikes Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe for more language tips, and we'll catch you in the next one. Until then, keep practicing.
Bye for now, everyone.